This is OFA Team Talk, an Oxfordshire FA production.
This week on OFA Team Talk, our football development manager Mike Thurlow sits down with Bure Disability League coach and BOBi League committee member Adam Robinson to talk setting up disability provision, why all clubs should get involved, what makes the BOBi League experience so special, and bringing football back post-lockdown.
Today I'm excited to be joined by Adam Robinson from Bure Park and the BOBi League to talk all things disability football. Hi Adam, how are you?
Yeah, hi Michael, I'm good, thank you.
It'd be great to start by telling us a little bit about yourself, your roles in football and your journey.
I've been involved in disability football for 5.5 years. I started off as just being in a helper role with Risborough Rangers, who are in Bucks. All the way through to now, I'm the Disability Development Officer for Bure Park. And as you mentioned, I'm also on the committee for the BOBi League as well. I decided to get involved in disability football as I used to work for a charity for young adults with learning disabilities. And football being kind of my main passion, I wanted to do something to kind of give back in that respect.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your Bure Park inclusive session?
When we set up this session, my aim was to make an inclusive session for anyone aged 5 to 15 who wants to get involved with football. Now, that may be someone with learning disability, physical disability, or in fact, anyone that may have experienced any of the barriers that they might have come across to playing football. And we just want to make the sessions fun, accessible, and also have learning outcomes as well. We train on a Saturday, 9 to 10 at Whitelands Farm Sports Ground. And we recently played our first under-12s pan disability friendlies against MK Dons and Marlow Inclusive, which was good fun.
What are your plans for the future?
As I alluded to, yeah, we've got a pan disability and under-12s team, which we're going to enter into the BOBi League for the first time this season. But what I really want to do next is focus on the under-16s level. So I'm aware that these under-12s won't have anywhere to go if I don't get that sorted. So I want to make this provision run all the way through, so there's continuity for the players and they've always got access to football.
So what age groups do you currently have involved in your sessions?
So we've got from 5 years old, and in the sessions we allow 5 to 15-year-olds to come along, which does sound like a huge age gap for those that are used to, say, having under 9s, under 10s, that sort of thing. But it's very difficult to categorise on age when we're talking about pan disability, because it really is a whole range of abilities that come along to the sessions each week. So we've got to think on our feet most weeks and tailor the sessions to make sure that they all get the good experience as they can, really.
What do you and your coaches do to make sure the sessions are really inclusive and you do give that positive experience that you just mentioned?
It all kind of starts when we get an inquiry, really. So if we do get a parent or guardian inquire about coming along, bringing their children to the sessions, we just try and get a bit more of background on the child. So we're not asking anything intrusive, just asking a few questions such as, what are your favourite things? What don't you like? What do you find difficult? And also, how can we help you when you find things difficult? Just gauging those key items before someone comes along allows us to plan, be prepared, and find out some real nuggets of information that could essentially really affect the way they can interact with the session. And then the other thing, really, what myself and the coaching team really kind of put first and foremost is allow the child the necessary time that it takes to feel comfortable to join in, really. Sometimes this takes the moment they step out of the car and they run on, see a football, and away they go. Others have taken weeks and months for them to fully engage in the session, and that's fine. That's the difference, really, is just allowing them to feel comfortable, because social situations are really, really tough for a lot of these children. And then we try and also avoid having games that have winners and losers, which may sound crazy, but it's important that we kind of drip feed these in nice and slowly when we know the group well enough. And we allow each child to have their own ball for the majority of the games we implement before the match at the end. And I also don't keep scores, but the kids do. So yeah, it's always just trying to just keep thinking about the individual, really.
For those clubs that are thinking about introducing inclusive provision, interested to know how you went about setting up the provision, and is there any advice that you would give to help make it a success?
It involves a lot of parties and a fair bit of work. So I moved to Bicester and wanted to carry on helping out with a disability provision, and unfortunately, for whatever reason, I couldn't seem to find one in Bicester, so I decided to to try and set one up myself. I was introduced to Ben Hillier, who's the chairman of the club, and he was looking for someone to introduce disability football at the club anyway. So that was a successful meeting. Then we met with yourself at the Oxford FA and made a bit of a plan, which would result in a taster session, just, to see if there's any interest, because, just because there's no provision, it may be because there's no interest. Unlikely, but that's got to be the thought process. So within that 12 weeks, I contacted all the current parents and coaches within our current club just to, promote it and let them know it was going to happen. Contacted local schools, local charities to help advertise the session with their students and their contacts. The most successful route was Facebook and social media. So I created a page for the team, set up an event for the taster session. I was then able to kind of share that to the local businesses and charities and the councils, who were more than willing to share that with all their followers. And I got some real tangible positive results from that, and quite a few people signed up, which was great. Other things that we've done, added the sessions onto websites, just the Parasport website, and to advertise the session. Also, I think there's one on the local Oxford County Council website where you can advertise your sessions and things like that, which has been really, really good. And yes, it's then submitted articles to the press, who've kind of added these to their sort of free editions that go around to all the households in Bicester. And yeah, it's all about getting the word out there, really. So if you're going to do it, just get the word out.
You kind of touched on it at the end there. So if a club is thinking about getting involved and starting up provision, but they're not 100%, what would you say to those clubs?
Well, first of all, if they're not quite 100%, I would definitely say don't start it if you're not prepared to follow through. These children desperately need the consistency, and sadly they're often the children that are kind of forgotten or sat out of mainstream football teams. And with some really sad stories that I hear on when we get inquiries. But if you don't have a disability football provision, then I'd kind of ask you, why not? For me, football clubs are at the heart of the community for boys, girls, with disabilities, without disabilities, and it's certainly my belief that every person should be allowed to access football if they want to. So yeah, give them a place to play is my advice.
You mentioned at the beginning around your roles on the BOBi League, so just interested to know and understand what they are.
So for those that don't know, the BOBi League stands for Berkshire, Oxfordshire, Buckinghamshire Inclusive League, and I've been a part of that work previously with Risborough Rangers as a participant, which is really good fun. And then more recently, the last couple of years, I kind of run the fixtures for them, and I'm recently been roped into being treasurer as well for the BOBi League, so a lot of responsibility now. But yeah, it basically offers individuals with disabilities to play competitive football on a regular basis. I think it's one of the largest pan-disability leagues in the country, actually, the BOBi League. Sort of 500 active kids and adults that play across 10 divisions. So it's really, really, really good, and it's quite unique that it allows a range of disabilities to compete in football. So yeah, it's certainly helps them with their communication, teamwork, socializing, and also the most important one, getting some exercise.
So where do the teams come from across the area?
We got teams from Berkshire, sort of Reading, Oxfordshire, Buckinghamshire. It kind of really does encapsulate all of the counties, really, and also some out of county as well. Just because if there might not be a provision for you, and you don't fall into these counties, then do get in touch. And if there's something that we can do to assist, that's occasionally we can get dispensation to allow so. So it's worthy, and like I say, everyone should have access to competitive football as well. So it's certainly something you should look at.
When's it looking to start back again?
Following the breaks in football, thankfully we've agreed and decided that we're going to begin from the new season. So September the 26th is the first fixture that we've got for that one.
And just give it an understanding, is it a central venue, and where are the venues throughout the season?
We've got 6 meets in a season. We generally have 3 before Christmas, and then 3 from March onwards, trying to avoid the weather as best we can, really. So for our BOBi League, we have a central venue, which is the Oxford City Football Club, for 5 of those. And then we have the final 6th fixture at Malton College, so Northampton, which, gives those that sort of have to travel for the 5 a little bit of a closer route to home. And yeah, that's for males, females, under 16s, under 12s. And then that's also for the adults is ability banded for Premiership, Championship League, which looks at their ability from those that are a bit more able and active to those that perhaps aren't.
What age groups do the league cater for?
Yeah, so they currently cater for under 12s and under 16s. and then Adults League, League One, Championship, Premiership.
There always seems to be a big buzz about the league. What do you think makes this league so special?
I have coached and played in quite a lot of tournaments myself, but nothing compares to the BOBi League and the atmosphere that you get down there. 500 players competing in a sport that they love, with the family and friends cheering them on at the side, is really a special moment. I think that generally speaking, perhaps a lot of these players may not have thought they could ever play in competitive football, or may have been told they can't at some point in their life. And it really is a special place to be. And, for me, it's almost like the definition of sport and how powerful it can be, really.
So if an individual did want to get involved in your team over at Bure Park in Bicester, or another team that plays in the BOBi League, how can they go about getting involved?
For us personally, you can get in contact with myself directly. But generally speaking, if you're in the local area, on the BOBi League website, there's all of the contacts are on there for all of the local clubs, which is broken down into areas. It's very useful. But also contacting local FA, or your local FA, who will be able to point you in the direction of your local provisions that are currently active, or maybe potentially looking to get started. So that's my advice.
If an individual is unsure whether to get involved, especially with COVID and all the worries there over the past 16 months, but they're maybe ready to get involved, what advice would you give, or what would you say to them to help take that jump?
I mean, it probably goes without saying, but I think all the clubs that are affiliated with County FA and Oxford FA have taken safety and COVID very, very seriously, and are kind of following all the necessary guidelines, and will continue to do so. I think really is how I'm viewing it. And if we can make someone feel safe and less anxious by doing something like wearing a mask, then we'll continue to do so. But if you're looking at wanting to play football, I'd absolutely look at what's in your area, get in touch and try a few sessions. If you can and you're able to articulate yourself, be honest with the coaches, try and explain what you might find difficult, how best you can be motivated. Because certainly with myself, my aim is to kind of eliminate any sort of barrier that players have, and I'd probably expect any disability coaches to do the same, because at the end of the day, it's about providing that opportunity. So yeah, that's what I'd say. Just go for it.
Thank you for your time. It was brilliant listening to all about your roles at Bure Park and at the BOBi League, and we look forward to watching the journey over the next 12 months, and maybe we can get back in touch and talk to you a little bit more later in the season.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be really good to, yeah.
This has been an Oxfordshire FA production. If you'd enjoyed this team talk, like, comment and share, and check out our playlist for future episodes.